and welcome to our Facebook Live this evening. My name's Jenny McCormack and I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based in Brackley in Northamptonshire, which is in the UK. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have had a good day. It's currently 7 p.m. on Thursday the 7th excuse me, of April in 2022, and this week we've been featuring Easter themed or spring themed cards. We started off excuse me, with some daffodils, and we moved on to these Easter friends. So this particular stamp set, I've taken it out of its case to stop it reflecting too much because it's a bit of a nuisance when you're recording at night and I've got the lights and things on, although obviously we do have nice light evenings, which is definitely helping. So let me pop on, and this is what I've created this week with the two of the characters from that set. So the first one we did was this one here with this cute little chick, and then yesterday I did the rabbit and the daffodils behind. So those are all available on replay. They're also available excuse me, on my YouTube channel. So if you just go to YouTube, you can search for Jenny McCormack. Hi Joanne. Or you can search for Jemini Crafts, that's with a J, and you'll be able to watch any of those Facebook lives again. And they are organised, so if I have a particular theme, so for example if it's animal related, I have a playlist of animal themed cards that's called Animal Magic. Hi Jeanette. And I also have themes for each of the individual catalogues. So if you're looking for anything particular, do look through the playlists, because it will, once you start that, if you set it on automatic, it'll just keep on playing different YouTube videos. Couldn't think of the word then. Okay, so today what I'm going to do is use this duckling again to do some mirror stamping. So mirror stamping is where this duckling is facing here to the right, but I want him or her to face to the left. Now you can either have them just facing to the left, but what I'm going to do is make a card that's got them facing each other, which make a great anniversary card or wedding card. Hi Zana, thanks for joining us. And then I'm going to show you with the little chick how to stamp these all in a line, but change the amount of space between each one, and that will become more apparent when I come to do that one. And this is all with our Stamparatus. So there are other stamp positioning tools available. Not all of them allow you to do these techniques. It just depends on whether you can use this plate and remove it, for example, to move it up or down. So our Stamparatus comes with two plates, so you can have one on this side, one on the top, and you can use both sides. So for example, if you wanted to recreate this section over and over again, you could have Happy Easter My Friend on one side, and then you could turn it over and have the chick on the other side if there wasn't enough space for you to be able to put them together. Hi Carol, thanks for joining us again, and thank you for your nice comments yesterday. And hi Tracy. So the first one we're going to do is this reflection stamping. So the reflection can be left to right. It also can be top to bottom. So if you had trees, for example, you could turn those over and stamp the reflection. So it's a really useful technique to be able to do. I recommend you have one of our silicone mats or a silicone mat of some kind. These are available from our store. I think they're £5.50. At least they were when I last bought one. and this allows you to stamp onto here and transfer the image. Now you can also do it with a piece of acetate or plastic, but you don't get, in my opinion, you don't get such good results because this is silicone. It sort of sticks a little bit better. It's a bit like the rubber of the stamp. It sticks better, the ink, onto this piece here. So for our cards, I'm going to use a white card base which I've prepared, and I also found some of this retiring sweet symmetry paper which is in Bumblebee. I just thought that was a really lovely background theme for our ducks and our chicks. So I've got should have 2 pieces of that, which I do, and then I've got 2 pieces of white, hi Scylla, that I'm going to use for our stamping. Now I've left these slightly larger because I'm not sure how the image is going to position, and that means I can then cut this down as I need to, and I do tend to do that on the Stamparatus unless I know what the finished result is going to be. If I'm just stamping 1 or 2 images like here, then I wouldn't do that. I would actually use the die cut shape itself. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is stamp our first image. Make sure this is clean. And so I'm just popping this piece of card on here, and I'm using the grid lines here to work out where this is going to go. If you're doing a lot of these, then what I would recommend you could do is use a bit of washi tape and just mark where your corner is going to go. I could put it up to this corner here, and even just use a marker pen to mark this corner, and then I know that if I was doing a lot of them, that's where this needs to go. So for my purposes, I know that I'm going to butt this up to the left, and it's come down 2 centimeters from the top. So these are centimeter steps. So I'm just going to pop that on there like so. I'm just going to pop a magnet down, and I just need a sip of my coffee. I made my coffee just a little bit too late. So do tell me what you've been up to today while I have that, and then I will crack on with my stamping. I can get the stamp ready. So we're going to be using the chick. So what I want to do is stamp my chick and then basically stamp it again facing the other way, if that makes any sense. And we're going to use this as a medium for transferring the data. Oh dear, not a computer, for transferring the ink. And this reminds me many years ago of using tracing paper, where you would take an image and you draw around it, and then you turn it over and then scribble over the back where that image was with a pencil. Does anybody else remember doing that, or is it just me? So it's a similar sort of technique to that. Okay. Oh, Jeanette's had a family visit. Excellent. Okay, so what I'm going to do is position this over to the left, because when I transfer it over, it's going to be facing. If I have it right the way over here and I transfer it, it's going to be a long way away from the other one. Oh, Tracy does too. Jolly good. If I have it too close and I turn it over, then these two will overlap. Okay, now there is a way that you could work that out, and that is to measure the center of your paper and then position your character as far away from that center line. So if that was my center line there, I know it isn't, but if it was, then the position of that relative to that center line will give you the exact center. Hi Dee. So and this is slightly bigger than the piece I need, so I'm keeping it slightly to the left. and we'll give this a go. So the first thing I'm going to do is pick up that stamp on here, like that. Okay, and let's just pop that underneath there. So I'm going to ink this up with Early Espresso ink, like so. I think I've picked up the one that hasn't got much ink, but that's not quite so critical on the Stamparatus, because obviously you can just re-ink it. So let's pop this down and see. So this is my original image from my stamp, like so. It's not actually too bad. Let's just move this out of the way. I don't want to get ink all over it. Okay, but if I wanted to add a little bit more, I can do that and stamp it again. And that's one of the benefits of the Stamparatus, is that if you missed a little bit, you can go back and re-stamp it and it will be in exactly the same position. Okay, I'm going to take this piece of paper away, although you can leave it in place. And just remember that I'm 2 lines down. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is bring in my silicone mat, and just to make sure it's nice and straight, I positioned it up into the corner. Okay, like so. Hopefully you can see that. Trying to keep out of the reflection really. Okay, just going to pop that on there, not that it really needs a magnet. So now what I'm going to do is ink up my duckling and stamp it onto the silicone mat. So the ink is going to just sit on the mat because it's non-porous, so it's not going to go anywhere. Don't know if you can, oh yes, I think you can just see that. Okay. Now I like to ink this up a few times because we're transferring the ink from the silicone mat onto our card. It's effectively a second generation stamp. So like stamping once and then stamping again, which will make it lighter. So I'm actually inking this up 3 times to go onto my mat, like so. Okay, so there's our image there. Now what I'm going to do is bring in my original and turn it over so that the impression facing this way is going to go on the right hand side, and all I need to remember is that I'm going to come down 2 blocks from the top. Okay, now I can press that down, but the easiest thing to do, I don't need to re-ink this, is just use that pressure, and what that will do is it will transfer the image underneath from the mat onto our paper. Now you also get one on the back. So I've got one facing that way and one facing that way. Okay, so if you haven't seen that done before, does anybody want me to show it again, or are you happy with that? Just make sure you wipe down your mat and your stamp in between. Let me know if you want me to do that again. But basically, you stamp your image onto your piece of card. You remove the card, place your silicone mat down, stamp this onto the mat 2 or 3 times, and then pop your card back face down, and then it will transfer this image, obviously from that side, from the mat onto your card, and then you'll get 2 characters, or whatever they are, facing each other. Okay, so that is one technique. So let me show you the other one, and then I'll make up the cards accordingly, and then if you need to go and do anything, you've seen the techniques. So, and obviously if I positioned this one, that's my center line, if I position this one a little bit closer, it would have automatically been closer on the other side. So you could work it out and have them almost holding, well, they don't hold hands, do they? Wings, they'd be wings, wouldn't they? Be holding wings. Okay, so the next technique I'm going to show you is creating lines. Now that's not particularly difficult on a Stamparatus, but sometimes the distance between the images aren't what you want them to be. Let me find the stamp set, which is right here. So I'll show you what I mean, and then I'll show you how to get round it. So I'm just going to take this out for the minute. So what I want to do on this one is have a line of chicks across the bottom, or across the middle. Let's do it across the middle. It's as easy as anything. So what I'm going to do is position my chick to the far left, pop my plate in, and this is where if you have a fixed stamp positioning tool, this won't work, but if you have one where you can remove it and replace it, it will work. So what I'm going to do is just ink this one up like so. Whoops, do it properly really, like that. Oh, Trudy, the stamp set. Hi, my darling. It is current. Easter Friends, it's called. This one here. It's very cute. Very cute. So we've done our reflection technique. So this one, I'm going to stamp the chicks in a line. Now, if you've got good vision and good, perception, you can just stamp them yourself. But what we're going to do is lift this up and move it one along. Can you see that this chick will be very close to the previous one? It'll almost be overlapping. So what I can do is move this another one along and ink it up. Okay, and stamp it. And then do the same thing. Not quite got its bottom in. So move this too long. So this is fine, but with a small chick, that looks a bit too much of a gap, isn't it, really? Like so. So it's perfect for getting them in line. All right, and then what I could do is do another one, for example, in between, like that. Okay, and then I'd have two, and I could carry that on right the way through. All right, but it may be that I don't want to do it like that. I want these actually closer together. Let me just do this, because I think what I might do is just use this anyway, and then I'll show you a trick to stamp them. I know I've got an image on there, but that's fine. With a different amount of spacing. So it does depend on what you're stamping. There's one. So these are going to feature in our coffee and card tomorrow, Friday, and Monday in Toaster. So if you want to make any Easter cards or cards just featuring the chicks, then do come along. So Friday's session is 3 till 4 in Brackley at the Red Lion. So that still works. and I could do another one up here, positioning it there and make it go off the end, for example. Okay, but what if I wanted these just a single line but closer together? I'm going to show you how to do that. So this is where we're going to use the grid line here, and what we're going to do is we're going to keep the stamp in the same place, but we're going to move the paper across, and we can also move the paper down. The secret of this is that you want to start on the right hand side so that you can move your paper. So if you imagine, if I put this, imagine this is the image, okay, and it's there. I want to be able to move this all the way along. All right, if I start here, I can't move it any further. Does that make sense? Hopefully it'll make sense when you see it. Okay, so I'm going to start here on this line here. So again, you could use a Sharpie or a permanent marker to mark where there is. You could use a little bit of washi tape to do it, entirely up to you. I know that this piece is bigger than I actually need. All right, so I'm not particularly worried about where it's going to go. And I think I'm going to have mine just down from the middle, so that I can put an Easter sentiment across the top, and I'm just going to have a line of chicks. I haven't coloured any of these in. I'll colour them in at the end. The main thing was I wanted to show you the techniques themselves. So I'm going to take my glasses off, see what I'm doing. So I know that I'm going to trim this down, so I can start it really wherever I want to, and I can trim from whichever side then that I want. And I'm just going to get my chick, hopefully fairly straight on there, like that. I'm going to actually line it up to the edge, and you'll see why in a minute. Okay, so let's put our chick on here. Just kind of a little way in. I haven't really measured to see how many I'm going to get in. You could do that and calculate exactly how many you need. I'm just going to go with the flow. Okay, and for this one, this chick is going to stay in the same place on the Stamparatus, and I'm going to move the card underneath. Okay, so it's like a step stamping, but you choose the steps, if you like, rather than using the preset steps there. Okay, is that out of yours? Oh, you can just see it. Let's bring it down a little bit. There's our earlier one. Okay, so there's our first chick going in there. Move this out of the way now, like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I know this needs to be lined up 2 from the top, and I'm going to move this, for example, 2 blocks over, and then see. Okay, so that's going to be too close, so I'm going to make that 1 more block, like so, and then see where that will take me. So that's nicely lined up behind the other one. So now I can ink this one up like so and stamp it. There we go. And do the same thing. So I'm going to move this 1, 2, 3 blocks along, keeping it in line up here, roughly. And if you miscalculated, when you bring this over, you can see whether you've missed a square or you've done too many. Okay, so these are now a nice sort of, you know, not even half a centimetre between them. There we go. So I don't know if you've got a Stamparatus or a stamp positioning tool, whether you've tried this technique. So I've got 1, 2, 3. So remember, you do need to start with it on the outside so that you can move your card across. It won't work on this side because you can't, in our case, you can't move it that way. So let's see how many we're going to get. I think we're going to get 4 and a bit. And that's one reason why I use a larger piece of card, because I can then potentially trim it down. 1, 2, 3. As I say, if you wanted to, you could have measured the chick and decided how many chicks you would fit in. If you've got a mathematical brain, that's definitely what you could do. Now I know this is probably going to go off the edge, but I'm all right with that. So there we go. And now we've got our complete line of chicks. Now what I can do is just make sure you wipe that clean and wipe the stamp clean. And if you had a small Easter message, you could stamp it repeating top and bottom, for example, across there. Let's move that to one side. Make sure I don't leave the chick here. So now I can trim this down. Let's have a look and see how that's going to fit. So this would normally be 13.85. So I could either, what happens if I do, what I might do, I could just position him on the very right hand side. And I'd like to trim that one right off, but I think I can't decide now whether to trim that off or not. I don't like to chop its beak off. Right, let's have a look and see. So this is my designer paper that I've chosen. I do need to cut this, yeah, I do need to cut that down a bit more. Let's have a look. So I know my piece is 40.35. Right to his beak. And then just cutting this one off at the back. Now if you knew that you wanted it to be to fit a particular size, then I would measure that, and you could almost measure where the chick needs to go in the front and then work the spacing from there. And I'm just going to take this out from the bottom, so it'll be 9.5. so. So now I've got my line of chicks. So those are my two techniques. One is the mirror technique for a reflection or a mirror effect, and then one is multiple stamps but choosing your spacing in between. So if I turn this over, this was the spacing that the Stamparatus offered, okay, and it would have been too close to put them close together, and then I felt that was too far apart. And then that is the spacing that I forced it to be, which is from there to there should be 3 centimeters if I've got that right. From one bottom to another is 3 centimeters. Okay, so that's the difference that I moved it. Okay, so this one is going to go onto there. And this one I need to cut down. Finish off my coffee. Which is now cold. Okay, so this is going to be 9.5. And then going to trim 0.5 centimetre off that side and 0.5 centimetre off this side. So I'm just using the centimetre rule on the right hand side. Let's see if I might need to take a little bit more. Yes, I do. So let's take another half and half. So these are great, cute little characters. They'd be great new baby cards. You could have a pink and a blue one, for example, or you could have twins in the same colours. So that's going to go onto there. And I'm going to stamp an Easter message, I think, for both of those. So I have got Happy Easter, which will fit nicely in there, and I might put that one underneath. And then I can add blends pens to do some sky and everything else. So there we go. I can't believe this is Thursday night already. I'm looking forward to a weekend. I'm busy working Friday, Saturday. Looking forward to catching up with special friends on Sunday. It's got a little bit of ink on the edge there. Got a little bit carried away. So Happy Easter's going on there, like so, and I think I'm going to put this up at the top. And I've decided what I'm going to do with my ducklings, with my chicks rather, is that these are I'm going to have one in a darker orange, maybe this one, and then the others all in a paler colour. So yellow, not orange. So this is, I've got Daffodil Delight combination and I've got Mango Melody combination, which is slightly deeper. So if you if you've seen the techniques and you don't need to see me colouring, then that's absolutely fine. Thank you so much for joining us. You don't have to sit and watch me colour these in unless you want to. So this is Light Daffodil Delight, and what I might do is use the brush tip to cover a bigger area. That one. Perhaps I'll make that one the darker one. I don't know. The middle one's a bit too obvious, isn't it? That's the only thing. So I'm not doing any shading. I'm just letting the ink do the work. Just adding my blends pen to that. I will add a little bit more orange for the beak. So. And then this is Mango Melody, dark and light. Hair on there. And I might add some ground to ground these, and I'm actually thinking that nice stamp from that Waves set would look nice across there. So you can see how that's coming together. So this is the light, which looks like it will need replacing. This is the dark. So that's better. I wanted quite a contrast between them. So it is currently, whatever time, 20 to 8, and it's still nice and light. Do like British summertime. Oh, thank you, Jeanette. Have a good weekend yourself. Enjoy your time with your family if they're still with you. Go. Okay, so there's one, and I might add a little bit of blending and a bit of ground to that one, and then this one here I will colour in as well. I don't think you need to sit and watch me necessarily colour that all in. Let me just have a look. Let's use a blue blending brush and just add a little bit of sky to this one. Might need a little bit more ink. As I say, the main techniques is what I wanted to show you with the Stamparatus, so don't feel obliged to sit and watch the rest. It's always nice when people do, but... So just adding this blue with a blending brush. So I keep a blending brush just for the main colours. So I have a blue, a green, a red, a pink, a yellow, a green, oh, I said that, a brown and a grey. I don't differentiate between the colours, mainly because I tend to use balmy blue 100% of the time for sky. And if you do use a darker colour, you can just brush it up on your paper and get rid of the excess colour. And as always with blending, less is more. So hopefully you can see that little bit of colour going on there. Amazes me how little you can see on the screen compared to it in real life. So there's a little bit of blue in there. I'm just going to pop a little bit in between them. Because the sky does come down to the ground. I'm reliably informed of that. Okay, I might stamp something on there. Okay, and then this one, I'm just going to put a little bit of blue either side. So I hope you've enjoyed our Easter week designs. I think I've made more Easter cards this year than I have ever done. But they're very sweet, and as I say, the animals I think you could use for, you know, any time. You know, cheering somebody up, children's birthday, as I say, newborn baby it would work for as well. Go, and a bit of green across the bottom. Hi Louise. Oh, and hi Katie. Thanks for joining us. So I'm just putting some ground in here for these ducklings. Just showing you the Stamparatus technique of stamping a reflection and also stamping in a line, but you choosing the spacing between each of the characters. Okay, so there's my grass going on. Now this stamp set does have a really nice little grass design. Let me show you here on the sheet. This one here, that's really useful. You could put sort of either side. I might do that. Why not? I've got some pear pizzazz here. So these characters and the daffodils will put in an appearance at Coffee and Card tomorrow at the Red Lion and on Monday in Toaster. And then next week I will be looking at the products that are retiring. I will check the availability of the items, of course. Oops. And particularly feature the ones that are on offer with discounts and the like. So just stamping this in between like that. There we go. And then I will colour these in to finish with, and I think I'll add a little bit of greenery along the bottom of here. I was going to stamp a base, but I'm just going to leave it green, I think. And that's us done for today. So after I've done this, I'll be packing my bags ready. And don't forget, our class in a box has opened for booking, and you can see the projects for those here in the Facebook page. So I think what I'm going to do is just mask that and just a slightly darker edge. And we're done. I'll look and see. Yes, there we go. Makes it quite defined then. There we go. So there's our Happy Easter chicks. There's our ducklings, which I'll colour in after. As I say, you don't need to see me colour those in as well. I've taken enough of your time. So just adding that across the edge like so, just gives it a little bit more definition, grounds the rest of my grass there. And there we go. So those are just going to go onto the backings here from the Sweet Symmetry, just because I liked the design. Not that you see much of it really. And then they'll go onto our white cards. Thank you, Carol. Thank you for staying the whole time. So just lining that up in there. This will go onto a white card. We had fun with that one, didn't we, yesterday, Carol? It was definitely worth all the effort. So just putting some Tombow, our multi-purpose glue, on the back of there. And this card I've cut in landscape format. So I've scored it at 14.85, cut it at 10.5, so that it opens in that direction. And I'm going to stamp a little chick on the inside. There's one. Just do this one, and I will colour those in. Oh, thank you, Tracy. I think I like the two ducklings best. I don't wrong side. And I think with these ones that you can, is that the right size? No, it's not. You can, and I've got it upside down. You can leave them uncoloured, I think. I think it still works. There we go. Obviously didn't trim that one down to start with. Oh, perhaps I did. Oh, it's because I cut the ducklings down a bit more, wasn't it? I was thinking it was the other one I cut down. One of these is on its way then, Tracy, to Lisa. Which one would she like the best? Would she like the line of chicks, do you think? Or the two ducklings? And I'll send her one, as she sent me such a lovely card. There we go. Okay, there's our two cards. I will colour those in, but I'll do that off camera. As you see me do this other colouring, not that it was particularly technical at all. So Tracy, let me know which one you think Lisa would like the best, and I'll pop that in the post to her. So thank you everybody for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed the session using the Stamparatus. I know many of my customers have got a Stamparatus and it very easily gets put away and you forget to use it for a little bit, so hopefully that might inspire you to look at some of your stamps and get the Stamparatus, the ducklings, this one here. Get your Stamparatus out and have a play with it again. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Do take care. I'm not planning to be live tomorrow, but I will be back live Monday morning at 10 a.m. So thank you so much, excuse me, for joining me. Have a great weekend. Thank you for your support. Look after yourselves, look after your loved ones, and do keep crafting, won't you? Bye for now.